It's January 1st, 2017, and the first thing we're going to talk about is how Ronda Rousey deserved the $3 million she got by taking the shellacking from Amanda Nunes. Welcome to the DO Boxing Show. I'm your host, Dameon Okposio. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. We're going to be talking a little bit about the UFC, but really as it pertains to boxing, because it's all the fight game. And one of the things that carries over is that striking is prevailing, and I call that striking boxing. So there was some boxing on display on the 31st, which was yesterday. UFC 207. Amanda Nunes defeated Ronda Rousey, and a lot of the talk was about the purse. And that's in particular what I wanted to talk about, and then relate it really to boxing. So a lot of people talked about the purse, the fact that Ronda Rousey got $3 million guaranteed, and Amanda Nunes only made $200,000. Amanda Nunes actually signed for a purse of $100,000, and then because of the victory, got an additional $100,000. She may have also got a bonus for Fight of the Night. I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to see if that was the case or not. But my point with the $3 million, I was on Twitter watching the UFC fights, and one of the things, everything was, there was two main conversations. One was the fact that Ronda should have gone to the judo instead of, standing up. And of course, that's a strategy thing. It's been talked about to death, so I didn't really want to touch on too much about that. A lot of people have varying opinions, and my opinion is Ronda has the right to decide what way she wants to fight. It's up to her, but I think personally that the strategy was wrong as well. She should have gone to where her strengths was. But the reason why I wanted to talk about the purses is because I saw a lot of people that were upset about the fact that Ronda was getting guaranteed $3 million, and it seemed to me like a lot of people didn't really understand the economics of the fight game, and it plays over into boxing a whole lot. And I had a lot of great conversations that night with a lot of fighters about that, and I just wanted to put that into today's show. So basically, Ronda Rousey got $3 million, Amanda Nunes $100,000 guaranteed plus $100,000 for the win. So she makes $200,000, and both of the fighters deserved the amount of money that they made. Should Amanda Nunes have gotten more? I don't think so. Should Dana White have put more into the promotion that he did? I don't think so. One of the things that I like about the UFC and why they've grown tremendously is because of the strategic moves that they've made when it comes to marketing. Did they market Ronda? Yes, but Ronda is also somebody that has changed the sport of the UFC, especially for women. She opened a lot of doors. She brought a lot of money to the women's division, and it's because of her that the draw was so big. So she's the one that actually earned that $3 million win, lose, or draw. And in the fight game, I know a lot of the casual fight fans don't know, and I could tell by the comments, you sign for what you're going to make ahead of the fight. So before you even step into the ring, you know what your purse is going to be, and then that is guaranteed win, lose, or draw. And then what happens is that your performance can affect your next pay, or what you negotiate for a pay in the future. And that's with boxing as well. So it was the same thing with UFC 200. Brock Lesnar made $2.5 million against Mark Hunt, and Mark Hunt he made $700,000. I don't make $700,000 in a year. It's a phenomenal amount of money. But Brock Lesnar, again, the draw. These people have done their work, whether it was prior to being in the UFC or while in the UFC. And one of the things I like about the UFC, especially when they were building guys like Chuck Liddell, George St. Pierre, anybody that helped build the UFC, made all their press conferences, they got bonuses, in addition to their purses, just for being part of the media and building the brand. And I love that model. I think that boxing should incorporate that actual model as well. Because if you're helping to build an organization, then yeah, you deserve to make more of the money. If you're making all your media obligations, you deserve to make more of the money. And I know that Ronda did a media blackout on the recent fight, but she did a lot to build her brand beforehand. And none of that was done by Amanda Nunes in terms of building Ronda Rousey's brand. So if Ronda is worth $3 million, she's worth $3 million. And Amanda Nunes doesn't deserve more of that just because she won. If Amanda Nunes wasn't fighting Ronda Rousey, that kind of money wouldn't be on the table. Case in point, in UFC 200, when Amanda Nunes fought Miesha Tate, again, Amanda Nunes made guaranteed $100,000, and Miesha Tate made $500,000. There wasn't $3 million on the table because neither of them was drawing that much interest to make a $3 million purse for either of them. So that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the marketing of the fighter, which brings me back to my business, DO International Boxing Consulting. It comes down to marketing. Marketing is a big part of the fight game, and a lot of fighters ignore it because they want to focus on winning, which I think is the right way to look at things. But that's where boxing becomes a team aspect. You can go into boxing solo, but at the same time, if you do, then you got to be prepared that you're not going to be able to benefit from all facets of the game. I was mentioning with one fighter that I was going back and forth with that night, the reason why Floyd Mayweather calls himself the best ever, in interviews he said, it's not just from a fighting standpoint, but from a mentality standpoint, from a business standpoint. And with that, I agree with him. That makes him the greatest or the best of the best ever. Nobody's amassed how much money Floyd Mayweather has made in a fighting career. He's come out of the sport basically unscathed, and with a perfect record. He's done everything, and he's done everything extremely well. But he's a master of marketing. I remember it was one of his beginning fights. It might have been his third fight or his fifth fight, and he was still under promotional contract to Bob Arum, and he got booed in the fight, and he got interviewed by Al Bernstein after, and Al Bernstein said, "Hey, you put on a performance, but some of the people in the crowd didn't like the showboating." And he goes, "That's okay. They can boo, but I know how to sell myself." And Floyd Mayweather, even at that young age, he studied the game, and he had great mentors because his father was a fighter, uncle was a fighter. But he knew that even if people are booing, he knew what was going to attract people to come and watch him, and he put the right people around him. That being Leonard Ellaby, and later on Al Heyman, and they brought more to his style, and when I say style, I mean his presence. So he knew what he needed to do to win. It wasn't a very crowd pleasing style, so they wanted to raise the appeal of Floyd Mayweather, so they had to do it outside of the ring because they didn't want to change his style. Why lose to create more of an appeal? Make him more interesting outside of the ring. And then they started blending him with other forms of entertainment, the WWE and music and so on and so forth, to add another dimension, which was brilliant. Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson started out as a teenager, they already started marketing him from the very beginning. He had Customato, Kevin Rooney, Teddy Atlas, all his trainers, and Teddy Atlas and Kevin Rooney were fighters under Customato. Then they became trainers. They all trained Mike Tyson to fight in that very exciting, explosive style. But behind the scenes, they had Jim Jacobs, Bill Caton as businessmen. And even as an amateur fighter, they used to record all of Mike Tyson's fights, and they used to send them to the local media in upstate New York. And so what would happen is a lot of times they wouldn't play the fights on TV. They wouldn't even write the articles about Mike Tyson. But what happened was when he turned professional, which is what they always knew that they had in mind for Mike Tyson, then all of the reporters already knew who he was. All of the reporters in upstate New York already had seen some footage of him somewhere. So there was that recognizable factor. Like they say in advertising, you need to see something about 7 times before it registers in your mind. These are all part of marketing. Marketing is not something you're going to get by just focusing on it once in a while. It's a skill you have to develop, just like you would develop your boxing skills. And that's why, there's some people that can't do everything. You need to build a team. That's why I offer the consulting services. So I don't need to be part of someone's team. They can just come and get the services whenever they need it, or whenever they feel stuck. They can get the services to help them get through that particular hurdle and move on to the next. Or I could be that temporary fit until somebody finds somebody to be a permanent part of their team. But marketing is an important aspect if you also want to make money. Winning, if you want to win, yeah, you need the dedication, the skill, a great coach. That will get you to winning. If you want to make money in the fight game, you got to have a lot of charisma, and you got to have a great marketing plan, or you got to have people that can do the marketing for you. The fighter doesn't necessarily have to do all that stuff themselves. Again, I've said it in numerous videos in the past, and I'll say it here, that's the team aspect of boxing. Some people will say boxing is an individual sport, but that is the team aspect of boxing. So hopefully this was hopeful. So hopefully this was educational to a lot of people in the fight game out there. Again, remember, you can always ask us any questions related to boxing by sending us a message through Twitter at DOKPOSIO, through email okposio@hotmail.com. And if you got a question, we'll likely turn it into an episode to try and help everybody out there, raise the level of boxing, raise the level of the game. And we appreciate you tuning in again. Remember, you can subscribe to the DO Boxing Show by going to YouTube, Dameon Okposio, to subscribe to get every episode of the DO Boxing Show. Thanks for tuning into this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.